As a graduate student, I remember reading a book called Jails by Ronald Goldfarb. And in that book, there's one thing that stood out to me. And that was that individuals are sent to jail or prison as punishment, not to be punished. And so it is our responsibility to ensure that individuals are given the right tools, that once they have done their sentence, done their time, that they are reintegrated back into society as fully cooperating citizens. And fundamental to that is the right to.
I first became aware, this is my 22nd year in elected office, and I first became aware of some of the challenges dealing with the restoration of civil rights when I was a real lawyer, as some of us like to say, and representing a few clients asking for governors to restore their civil rights. And I remember a couple cases that took a year and a half to get an answer. The answer was no. And it appeared to me there's got to be a better way in order to do this, because this is something guaranteed in the Constitution's right to vote. If you're going to be deprived of the right, there's got to be a better way to be able to get one's rights restored once the debt to society has paid. And I think I speak for probably everybody up here, but for me, it really is a personal thing. I believe in America of second chances. I believe this is a land of a remarkable opportunity. That we are a people largely of faith that believe in redemption. We believe in restoration. The Declaration of Independence says that the just powers are derived from the consent of the governed. Well, if you're going to give your consent to the government, you've got to be able to vote to give that consent. And that's why I think this is vitally important that we do a far better job in restoring the civil and constitutional rights of our citizens. That would be a clear avenue to reintegrate you with your full dignity, fully back into society. I think it brings about the final measure of reconciliation and the final measure of healing, both for the offender and for society. It's important also that while those offenders are serving their time, that we do everything we can to prepare them for reentry into society. And we've made prisoner reentry a significant effort in our administration to engage offenders in evidence-based programming and education programs and training, so we maximize their success for reintegration into society, because we know that 95% of all the prisoners are going to get today. I am delighted to say that within the existing authority that I have as governor under current law, all Virginians who have been convicted of a nonviolent felony and who have completed their incarceration, probation, or parole, have fully satisfied their court fees, fines, costs, restitutions, and other court-ordered conditions, and have no pending felony charges, will have their voting rights automatically and individually restored right away. Now, what does this mean in terms of changes from the current law? It means that the current 2-year waiting period that I've said and other governors have said in the past is gone. There will be no period of wait from release from incarceration, probation, and parole. Second, there'll no longer be an application. That we will receive data from state police, from the Department of Corrections, from the Sentencing Commission, and other government sources, so that we can determine whether or not those criteria have actually been met. Director Clark's going to have a little more paperwork to do, but he can get that done for us. Third, it also means that what triggers the loss, that we will no longer consider pending misdemeanor charges or misdemeanor convictions to be an impediment to having your rights restored. And I think most importantly, number 4, is that, and this was the goal of the constitutional amendment, is to try to remove the subjectivity. You know, it's an immense honor to be governor. You have a lot of power. And I spent a lot of time with the secretary looking at all these, but you have to make those decisions one by one on these. Even though we've restored 90% of them, there's still some subjectivity. Well, what we're trying to do, and what the constitutional amendment would do, is taking that out, make it objective. Your rights under the Constitution and your civil rights in America should not be dependent on the whim of one person.